All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first concurrent session of the day, Trading Spaces, Designing a Virtual Learning Space. Our presenter today is Becki Streett from the University of Arkansas at Little Rock. Becki is a senior mathematics instructor and the coordinator of developmental mathematics at University of Arkansas at Little Rock. With nearly 30 years of experience teaching mathematics, she advocates for approaching math courses like a camp counselor, connecting students through discussion and collaboration in a safe environment where everyone can be heard. Now, if anybody has any questions at all during the presentation, please feel free to submit those in the Q&A section at the bottom of the Zoom room screen, and we'll make sure that we have time at the end of the presentation to address all of those. And on that note, I will go ahead and hand it over to our presenter.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me try to share my screen. Okay, I'm hoping that you guys can see that. I'm really excited to be here today. I want to talk a little bit about designing virtual learning spaces. So when the pandemic first hit, I realized pretty quickly, like I'm sure most of you did, that I needed to create a space for my students that provided them with all of the information that they needed virtually. And I wanted it to be more dynamic than just what they get on our learning management system. I've had a lot of fun designing these spaces, and I'm hoping that some of the ideas that I'm going to talk about today might be useful to you. And I'm going to throw a lot of different things at you, so some of them may not really mean anything to you, but hopefully at least some of them will. So I think the pandemic has actually really changed how both students and faculty, for that matter, view course delivery. At my school, more students are opting for online classes than ever before. Oh, I see. I'm showing you the wrong thing.
Yep, sorry. It looks like it's a little cut off too, so I just want to make sure we're
Okay,
showing.
yeah, let me do the other one. I apologize. You guys want to see this one, I bet. Does that look like the right one?
Yes, it does. It's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good, good, good. Is it cut off or can you see it all?
It looks like it might be a little bit at the bottom, but I can't tell. I don't know what it should look like. That's better. That's
That's
perfect.
better? Okay. Okay, so what I was saying is really students, I think, are asking for different things now. I think in the past, I definitely had students that were either all online, really into the online idea, or never wanted to see it. And I think the pandemic has forced students to at least dip their toes in online virtual learning. And so, as I was saying, at my university, at least more and more students are actually signing up for the online classes, and even the students in my face-to-face classes this semester are requesting more opportunities for online interaction. So I think it's super important to have something in place that can accommodate the changing needs of our students. So whatever modality you're teaching in, face-to-face, fully online, hybrid, high flex, or anywhere in between, it can be really helpful to have a consistent tool that students can use to find what they need. Um, and I think they're great for all modalities because they're interactive, super adaptive, really easy to share, and they kind of act as a one-stop shop. Like the student can go to this one slide and basically get everything they need. So here is an example of one of my virtual spaces. I created this one on Canva, and I'm actually going to talk a lot about Canva during this hour. It's a great free platform that I am obsessed with. If you've never tried it, I would encourage you to. But you can easily use something like PowerPoint or Google Slides to do basically the same kind of thing. And on this slide, I have tried to include everything I can think of that a student might possibly need. Virtually every word, image, and box that you see is linked to something, like my course syllabus and calendar. And my goal is to make it colorful and unintimidating. Mainly, I just want it to be approachable for my students. And I'll go into some more detail about these things in a minute, but basically, after creating my initial slide, I update it at the beginning of every week. And it only takes a couple minutes to do that. For instance, I'll add the latest 2-week calendar and to-do list, and I share this slide with my students in a couple different ways. So first, at the beginning of each week, I always download it as a PDF. On Canva, this is really easy to do. You just click on the down arrow in the top right-hand corner to do so. And the PDF then has hyperlinks in it, so students can use it very easily. And I also then copy a link to view it. And I do this in an email to my students. So each week I send an email that has the PDF version of the slide, but also the hyperlinked version of it. And I share this link on Blackboard, which is the LMS that my university uses. And I also put it on the course syllabus. So it's kind of this weird circle. But even though I put the link on the syllabus at the beginning of the semester, I update this. As I update the slides, anytime a student goes back to that original syllabus and clicks on the link, they always get the most updated version of my slide. So now I'll walk you through a couple of the highlights on here. Like I said, virtually every box, image, words that you see, they're all hyperlinked to information that students need for a class. And so to do this on Canva, super easy. You just click on the hyperlink icon in the right-hand corner, and you can add your web address. And of course, hyperlinking on Google Slides and PowerPoints is super easy as well. So I have several different kind of hyperlinks that I do. Some of the hyperlinks go to documents, like the course syllabus and calendar. And those I share via my Google Drives, to get a web address for them. So for instance, my course syllabus, calendar, I have a list of the videos I created for my course. Those I store all of them in my Google Drive, and then I can just hyperlink each of them directly. Some of the hyperlinks go to websites. So for instance, one link will go to this great Newsweek article I share with my students, and others will go to Khan Academy, YouTube videos, or whatever kind of resources you think your students might need. And then some of the links just go to other pages on the slide deck. So when you want to link an image or word on your slide to another page in the deck, you just click on the hyperlink icon in the top right-hand corner again, but instead of entering a web address to link it, you can directly link to another page in your deck. Super easy. So here are some examples of those other pages on my deck that I always try to include. For instance, when you click on Statement of Hope, you arrive on this page, and I've recently started using this statement in all of my classes. It was inspired by Dr. Monica Linden from Brown University, and in it, I talk about my hopes for making the class a safe space, right? I also include links to some of the great resources available to my students, and the QR codes that you see on the right, those are super easy to create on Canva. And I've been really blown away by the responses I've gotten since I've started using this. I think it's a great way to show students that we really do care about them, not just in the classroom, but outside as well. So if you don't already do something like this, I would strongly encourage you to give it a try. Then I have links to other pages like class meetings, which can be really useful, especially if you're offering your students a variety of ways to attend class. Like some of my students come face-to-face, and then others, if they're not feeling well or things are going on, they can also join Zoom. And so this is helpful too in case modalities change mid-semester. Hopefully that'll never happen again. But this is an easy way for students to know automatically where they need to go. Like clicking on the map to the left, that displays a campus map showing exactly where the building and classroom is located. And the link on the right takes students directly to my Zoom room. There's also a link to my office hours. And again, there's a direct link to my Zoom room. Also, this is a great place to tell students more about office hours. So many of them have no idea what office hours even are. So when you click on that bottom Post-it note, it takes students to a great article I found on medium.com about the importance of attending office hours. And I think that a few students at least might actually have read this, or or at least realize that I think it's important because I'm starting to get more students to actually show up for office hours, way more than in the past. So I'm not sure why, but I'm happy about that. I also like to include a full list of campus resources. College campuses have so many great resources, and they're sometimes overlooked. I think often students are told about these types of services during a campus tour or orientation, but so many of them forget about them by the time classes are underway. So this is a great place to include those resources. And I basically just ask everyone on campus, hey, if you have a great resource you want my students to know about, let me know, and I'll link to it. And my favorite link is probably this one to my junk drawer. So this is what it looks like, and it's a great place to add some fun extras, and I update it all the time. It's a great way to see if students are actually paying attention. The key, for instance, is a link to a hidden extra credit assignment, and I'm always pleasantly surprised by how many students actually find and complete that extra credit assignment. And when you click on Answers Final Exam, students get rickrolled, and I always get some fun responses from that. And another thing I like to include is a team roster. This has been really helpful. Here's an example of one. To do this, I create a Padlet for the class. And if you've never used Padlets before, I highly recommend them. They're great and they're free. Basically, I ask students to upload a picture that they choose that represents them, to include the name they want to be called, as well as any contact information they feel comfortable sharing with the class. Obviously, that's not required, but most students will share an email address or Instagram handle. And in this case, I ask them to list something that makes them happy. It's a nice icebreaker, and it's a great way for students to express themselves and connect with one another, which is especially helpful for any student who is learning remotely. Students just know I can automatically find Sarah from my class, and here's how I can contact her. I've had a lot of great responses from this as well. Super easy to do. And for those students who may not feel comfortable sharing a photo of themselves, I encourage them to create an avatar. A lot of students these days already have their own avatar. One of my students actually shared this website with me called Get Avatars, and it's pretty cool. It's a great place to create free avatars. It also even has a random avatar option, which is pretty fun. So I also do things like create a class playlist. I do that on a Padlet. I ask at the beginning of the semester, I ask students to upload clean versions of their favorite songs. And if I am doing a Zoom class, I will play songs from those at the beginning of the class. During the class, when I might give them a problem to work on for a couple minutes, I'll pick one of the songs on the class playlist. Again, just one of those extras that's kind of fun. But basically, the junk drawer ends up being a great place to connect students with all of this. And it's funny because if I go too long without adding new things to it, I inevitably hear from a student wondering, when are you going to put something new in it? I think it's a great way to promote interaction too, and most importantly, to help ensure students are at least thinking about my class on a regular basis, right? If they're I think so often I will have students who could go 2 weeks without paying any attention to my class if it's online, especially, and obviously that's not what I want to happen. But if they know I'm going to add maybe an extra credit thing or some new funny little Easter egg, then at least they're going to the slide deck and clicking on it. Another thing that you can easily do on Canva and a lot of other sites as well is to create charts. I use it to illustrate the grade breakdown for my class. And I think it's super important to keep that at the very top of the slide so students kind of always have that sense of what things count. And there are lots of different options for doing this on Canva, for instance. It's really easy to navigate. And it's kind of great to model it for your students on this, because I've had students say, hey, I noticed that you had a chart on our slide deck. How did you create that? I need to create it for another class, for instance. So it's kind of nice because it teaches students a little bit of a soft skill just by having it on my slide deck, which is unintended consequence. I never thought of that, but it's worked out pretty well. It's also great for things like digital badges. I don't know if any of you guys were there, but yesterday I went to a Great Hawks presentation about digital badges. I use them in my classes too, and I think they're so much fun. Um, I think simple gamification techniques can really help create a sense of inclusion and ownership in the classroom. And I think it can really actually empower students to problem solve within their comfort zones, right? Having students pick their own avatars, earn badges, and move up a leaderboard can be really powerful and engaging. And digital badges can help students make real connections between their work and the desired student learning outcomes. My badges aren't as creative as the ones I saw yesterday, but they're kind of like the 6 colored ones you see in the center of this slide. And they're all based on verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. And I do that to try to help students understand that math is about so much more than just number crunching. It also requires us to critique, defend, debate, etc. So in my junk drawer, I also have a link to this class Hall of Fame. So I use the avatars that they provided and their contact information, and I can upload their badges as they earn them. And I've been really surprised by how well my students have actually responded to this. I think it helps them feel seen and acknowledged when they do good work. So, as for some observations, since I've started using these virtual learning spaces, I've gotten great feedback from students. Um, Students are reporting that they're using more of the resources that I actually post on there than they had in previous semesters. They know automatically what to click on to get to the math lab, or the different websites that I encourage them to use. Like I said before, I've had an increased number of office hour visits, which I really like. I think it helps me build rapport with students as well as be able to teach them extra things and answer their questions. I don't really get any of those when or where is emails from students that I used to get. People know automatically my response. If they do ask me that, they might ask me once, they'll know it's on the slide, look on the slide. And I do think that it kind of encourages some virtual engagement. And on a personal level, this has really invigorated me. I've taught the same courses with the same basic content for almost 30 years. So working on these spaces has actually turned into a really great creative outlet for me. And I think it actually helps students learn a little bit about me and my personality, which I think helps us better relate to each other. I've just really enjoyed doing these. I cannot recommend them enough. So in case any of you are interested, I created a template on Canva. It's free and I will share it with you, but you are welcome to use it to design your own virtual spaces if you're not sure where to start. I'm sure many of you could create spaces way better than what I've done, but there are several different options on this template that I'm going to share with you. So for instance, I have included some slides with just the background. So you can add whatever you want, like this one. And this one, just my basic class one. I've also included slides that already have the text boxes in place. So you can just click on each text block. It's already there. You don't even have to create a new one, and just delete what I have written and type in your new things. You can remove images, change them as you want. And I've also included some links to some useful information about building your own virtual spaces. As I'm sure you all know, if you just Google how to build a virtual space or go to YouTube and look at it, there's so many great videos, so many great ideas. There are really creative people out there working on this. So I would encourage you to play around with it. I think hopefully you might find it pretty fun. And if you're interested, what you can do is point your phone's camera at this QR code that's on the right, and it will take you directly to the template that I just talked about. And on that template, it has links to everything you need, as well as the actual template itself. And I would encourage you to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help you if you have any questions. I've done this presentation, basically a version of it, a couple times for Hawks, and every time I've gotten great emails from people sharing what they've done in their classes and we've kind of asked each other questions, help each other. So I would love for you to reach out to me. I have a lot of fun doing this. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this part of the presentation now and answer questions and go to the template if you're interested, so I can kind of show you how to add words or images or anything you might need. So let me stop sharing. I will turn back on my video. Okay, I'm back. I see, let me look at the questions. How do you address accessibility concerns? Excellent question. Excellent question. I didn't show that here, but what I've done is on my slides, almost every box that has an accessibility issue will have a little, I use different icons, sometimes a microphone usually, where students can click on it and I actually speak was written there. They can just hear my voice describing what it is and how to access it if there are any other issues. I would love to hear more ideas on that because I know I could always do better. Okay, are there any other questions?
And as a reminder for everyone, you can just use the Q&A box to submit any questions.
Someone's expecting virtual reality. I wish I could talk on that, but I can't. Do I embed Canva Classroom in my LMS? I am not sure what Canva Classroom is. I would love to hear more about that. Same with AltSpace. I don't know anything about that. I'd love to hear more about that. You know, does this work with the Canvas platform? I actually don't use Canvas. My school uses Blackboard, but because you can download it as a PDF and also have like a hyperlink directly to it, you can put it on any kind of platform you want. Let's see. Do your students turn in all assignments and take their test online? It depends. In my online classes, yes, they do. They would do it through like Hawks or whatever other thing they have. My face-to-face students still come to class. For the most part, some of them will show up on Zoom. They do their homework online, but they take their test in class. But those students still want the same information. I still share these slides with them, even if they see my face twice a week. Can't wait to see how I can tutor training program. I'm not sure I know what that is. I wish I could talk with you guys more. Hear what you guys have to say. Does Blackboard link nicely? Sorry, it's moving around. With your templates. Yeah, super easy with Blackboard. And if you want to email me, I can give you tips on doing that. It works really well. How do I embed the virtual space in my LMS? So all I do on my LMS is on Blackboard, one of the little things that they can click on, like click on calendar or assignments, just says class slide deck, and I download it as a PDF and I have the hyperlink to it. So it will take them directly to my slide deck. Hopefully that answers your question. Is slide deck? No, I don't think so. I just create it. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a good job of reading the questions. It says, is slide deck a Blackboard term? I'm assuming you're asking if it's an option on Blackboard, like you click for calendar or whatever. It is not. I just type it in myself. Will it sync with D2L Brightspace? I think so. Like I think that it's not even a matter of syncing so much as just posting that PDF or that hyperlink site. I don't know. I may be doing a terrible job answering your questions. I'm sorry. Are there any others? Okay, well, maybe that's it. We went pretty quick to, oh wait. Oh, thank you. Could you please provide the link? Yes. Give me 1 minute. The link have to copy and paste it here.
I just put it in there for everyone.
Oh, you did. I forgot. I gave it to you ahead of time. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
There's a link, and I'll put in my email address as well. Though it is on that link. Please feel free to reach out to me. Well, I guess if there are no more questions, that's all I have today.
All right.
Quick, sorry.
You're fine. We got a lot of thanks coming in. So, I mean, it's short, but we had a lot of engagement. So that's always great to see. It definitely was engaging for everyone, it seems. So that's great. But it looks like we don't have any additional questions then. So I'll say a quick thank you to Becki and for everyone who attended. Thank you so much for that first session of the day. So it was great to see a nice turnout for this one. So once again, thank you to Becki for all the valuable information that you shared. For everyone who's in attendance, the next concurrent sessions will begin at 12 p.m. Eastern time today. I'll be posting a few links in the chat here in just a second, where you can view the session meeting room links for accessing the conference website for a complete list of all of the concurrent sessions and their descriptions for the day. Now, while everyone's accessing the conference website, please do not forget to swing by our exhibit hall to say hello to the entire Hawks team. If you view just a quick 5-minute demonstration, you'll be entered to win your choice of a 6-month subscription to Audible, 1-year subscription to Disney Plus, or a $100 Amazon gift card, which are some great potential prizes for 5 minutes of your time. So really encourage everyone to go check that out. But on that note, I'll go ahead and say one more thank you to everyone, and hope to see you all at the next sessions. I'll have those links posted in the chat here in just 1 second.